So, I'm going to start another small video series that has to do with words and the definition of words and how the Borg mentality of societies have changed the definitions of words based on what the belief system was at the current time. Um, and currently, since this is February, it is apparently a racist month where they talk about just one particular race, which I guess it's based on skin color because it doesn't really say African American, it just says black. So I'm assuming they mean African Americans. Or am I assuming that it's anything but white? So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it is. But apparently February is Black Month, which is extremely racist. So I ended up logging into my Amazon account this morning and I was going to order some items that I needed around the house, and I noticed that they had banners going on their website basically talking about how you should buy black and you should watch these videos from black people, and that, we need to celebrate the accomplishments of black people, which I personally don't have a problem with black people. I think it's great that we have great black people. But to actually sit there and to take them and put them in their own category and say, hey, we're going to celebrate this, because that is the definition of racism. We're not supposed to discriminate based on race, okay? But yet they're discriminating. They're literally saying, hey, look, if you're going to buy this product, you need to go here and buy it from this guy because he's black. Or if you're planning on watching a show on great people, watch this series because it's black. That is the definition of racism. But because of the Borg mentality of this current society that we live in, it's okay to be racist if it's concerning black people. Because if you're any other race, then it would be considered racist. So you couldn't have a yellow history month. You couldn't have a red history month, or a white history month, because that would be considered racist. But if it's black, it isn't racist. So the very definition of the word racism or racist has been redefined by the Borg thought process of society. The idea that it's okay to be racist based on what society says, whether it's okay or not. Now, I have some recent personal experience with racism, where I was actually being discriminated against based on my skin color. I used the word monkeys in defining what the rioters were last year when they were burning down, buildings, spray painting, basically taking over entire city blocks. And in my frustration, I said, someone needs to put those monkeys down. Someone needs to control those monkeys so they can quit raising havoc all over the country. Well, that was a problem because somebody that was in the break room at work had heard me use that term monkeys and automatically assumed that I was talking about black people. Okay? Well, monkeys is a term that is used based on a species. Okay? And the closest species relative to humans is what? Pretty much monkeys, right? So when people act like a bunch of monkeys, it usually means that people are acting like animals. That people are being, as close to the monkey species as they can be without actually being, technically monkeys. So this person happened to run off to HR, and instead of talking to me about it and wanting to know more about what I meant, this person decided to go to HR. Now that's as far as I'm going to go with that story, because I'll disclose that later on in my video series on what took place after that. But relative to what I'm talking about here is that I actually got in trouble because I was white. That because I was a white person that said it, it made it racial. Now, for instance, like with Amazon and Google and I guess the whole meta of retailers, they've already decided that it's okay to have black only month. But if they were to try to do a white only month, then it would be considered racism, and then we'd probably end up having demonstrations in the street again, rioting, burning down buildings, spray painting, taking over city blocks, acting like monkeys, right? I mean, that is a very descriptive term to use for what was going on last summer when people were acting like freaking animals. And I end up getting in trouble talking about people like that. People who are acting like animals, I ended up getting in trouble for it. Okay? So, I decided to go ahead and notify Amazon and let them know that, hey, I don't appreciate your racism. You guys are being racist. And the lady's like, the customer service lady's like, well, can you send us an email of this, what you're seeing? And so I ended up emailing it to them, and I haven't heard back from them, right? I mean, I actually took a screenshot of the picture, and it basically said something like, buy black, like buy American, but no, buy black, So I guess it could have been better if it would have said buy black American. But the point is it's racist. It's racist. It's blatantly racist. So I went ahead and I had closed my Amazon Prime account because I can't do business with someone that's that racist. Okay? And now I'm in the process of waiting for them to get back with me and see what kind of response they have before I actually close my account altogether. And that's what it's going to take to get these companies, these corporations, and the Borg thought process of society that it's not okay to be racist for no matter what reason. It's not okay to burn down buildings. No, for no matter the reason. That's out of control. I have a history of being honest and raised as an Eagle Scout to tell the truth and to call things out when things are wrong. Well, this is wrong. The mental state of society is in such a way that I have become a bad person because of the iniquity and the wicked mentality that general society has now concerning racism. So let's go ahead and go into BLM then, okay? So Black Lives Matter. Any productive life matters, okay? And from my point of view, if you're productive, then your life matters, okay? If you're not productive, then it depends on who your family is, who your church is, who your neighbors are, a support group that you should have that should be there to help you, okay? Now, I'm not going to go any farther into that because that's in my government section of this video series I'm going to talk about first when I do go into the big three, which is government, religion, and corporations. Okay, to me, those are the biggest issues that we have as humans in dealing with trying to save and rescue humanity is through those three superpowers. Okay, so I'm not going to go any farther with that discussion at this time. But with the Black Lives Matter thing, I mean, I understand what their point was, okay? And it's unfortunate that it happened to be a white guy that choked the black guy, right? But my point of view of the matter is this, okay? The cop that choked the black guy was a bad guy, okay? Now we can go into the details about that person. but I'm not going to do that at this time. But for someone to put their neck or their knee on somebody's neck like that, that's a bad person. I don't care. I mean, a normal person would not do that to somebody else. All right. So there's obviously something going on in that guy's head where he's either had to deal with, bad lives so long that he's become a bad life himself. He's probably tired of catch and release, and he's probably run into this guy before. And the guy on the ground is obviously not a good life either. Okay? Because he's been in trouble with the law before, and for whatever reason, he was passing a counterfeit bill or something. I don't know whether he meant to or not, but it doesn't matter. The point is how did he end up on the ground? Okay? So he must have done something wrong to end up on the ground, right? I don't think he was completely an excellent person. Okay? I'm pretty sure if you look into his history, which I have, he was not an upright citizen. Okay? And the cop that killed him, I can guarantee you, wasn't an upright citizen either. So here you have a situation where you have two bad lives coming together and creating a problem, right? And then someone sees it and they go, oh my God, it's a white guy killing a black man. Oh, and now it turns racial, right? So instead of it being based on the fact that these two people are actually bad citizens, now it's turned into a racial issue, right? Which we can go into why it happened because of the political, because Trump was president. But see, I'm not going to go into that. What I'm saying is that it was two people who both were not that great citizens, and they created a stink. Okay, and then guess what? Innocent people have to pay the consequences for those bad people making bad choices. Okay? So they go through and they burn things. Now, in my mind, those people are not justified to do that. Okay? They have just crossed over the threshold from being a good citizen to being a bad life. Okay? Now, I don't think bad lives matter. Period. All right? So that's why I said that. When I mentioned the fact that those monkeys need to be controlled or they need to be put down, because they're acting like hooligans. I don't want those kind of people in my society. So, part of being, an individual is being able to think for yourself and to come to your own conclusions and to have your own moral compass. And the problem is that the moral compass gets distorted and gets perverted. And there's other words out there that have been changed. Basically, a lot of them are the key words of what humanity is. Like, for instance, charity. I'll discuss the word charity during my corporations discussion about how corporations have perverted the word charity, and then also bravery, courage. Those words have all been redefined over the last 30 or 40 years to a point where they no longer are what the dictionary says they are. So, in conclusion, the word racism has been redefined based on what we're seeing in the climate of, Black Lives Matter and Black, History Month or whatever you want to call it. So, I'm doing my part by actually stopping my business with companies that want to support things that I don't support, which is racism. So basically Amazon is on the outs. Also, Amazon doesn't believe in free speech, right? They shut down Parler. I guess they were hosting the servers for the app Parler, which happened to be a conservative quote, conservative. I don't know if they're really that conservative, but anyway, so yeah, because that's the only way you're going to be able to change the Borg mentality is if the Borg itself goes against itself. So, for instance, you got to get friends and family and people that believe in the same things that you do, and you have to battle those ideas against the ideas of others, because that is what is going to create the society in which you live. So if you're one of those people who doesn't want to speak up against something that you don't believe in, well, you're actually going to get defeated. You're going to be destroyed because you will become the enemy. It's like the revenge of the body snatchers, right? Eventually everyone around you is going to become your enemy because you chose to put your head in the sand and not actually make a stand. Because you can't do everything in one day, right? You're not going to like stop your businesses with everybody. You're not going to stop, going to Costco right away, but you can find alternative routes, right? Like you can decide that, hey, I'm going to go ahead and go this way. I'm going to go to Winco instead. Or I'm going to go ahead and buy from a small business who has an online store instead of going through Amazon. And that's what I'm choosing to do. Because I'm going to make sure that I do my part in saving the society in which I want to live in, instead of allowing the what I consider to be the wicked and the iniquitous society which happens to be in control of our world today.